Well, let's stay then with the state capture inquiry. President Cyril Ramaphosa fielding questions about the role and his role specifically as the deployment committee chair during his time as ANC deputy president. When asked if he knew the Guptas, Ramaphosa says he met them for the first time soon after the 53rd ANC conference at a breakfast they attended. Well, that's just part of the evidence that has come out today. Well, let's unpack the president's evidence. UDM leader Bantu Holomisa joins us, and political commentator Rebone Tau. Good evening to both of you. Thank you so much for your time. General Holomisa, let me begin with you. Key takeaway moments from the day. What has really stood out for you of that evidence?
Well, there was nothing new. President Ramaphosa, I don't think he convinced the commission that it would come up with different conclusions. The truth of the matter is that the comrades in corruption have been surviving through usage of state resources. Cyril Ramaphosa has been part of that establishment. So do not expect, therefore, that they would self-correct themselves. What we are interested as a public is when and how will they return the money stolen from the SOEs and the state departments through bogus companies like Bosasa. So I don't therefore expect that there will be any change soon, unless there is somebody else who replaces the ANC to effect even those findings of the commission, which are going to come soon.
Rebone, your take?
Kathy, this morning I nearly fell off my chair when the president said the ANC did not have minutes of the deployment committee from 2012 to 2017. For an old liberation movement not to have such systems, it's a bit worrying, because this is the ruling party that is in government, and deployment committee is very crucial. And today where we're sitting, it's at the center of the Zondo commission.
Well, all right. Okay, I thought you were finished.
And you have the issue of Brian Molefe, that he's the one who had recommended him, and that also says a lot, in terms of the ANC itself as an organization, that today the same Brian Molefe, who has said, by the way, certain things that, if we go back to some of his comments that he made, Brian Molefe, when he appeared at the Zondo Commission, was that at times they were called Tulu Tulu House as CEOs of SOEs and will be instructed to pay certain service providers. So this shows you a lot of things that don't make sense.
General Holomisa, when we look at this evidence, one can't help but see a picture emerging of an ANC that is not holding its members or even its deployees accountable. And I just spoke to Bulamabe before this interview, and he alluded to that. In fact, he says, the ANC, it's not the responsibility of the ANC to hold deployees accountable, because that should be the sole responsibility of the organizations which they have been deployed to. Is that an honest reflection of how far the responsibility and the burden of the party goes, especially for a party that insists on a policy of cadre deployment?
What you are seeing here is that there's been a lack of discipline, and that those who are at Lutule House didn't know where their boundaries are. Because for them to deploy people and sometimes call them when they are preparing for congresses or elections, so to make sure that they get the money for those for campaigns. But when they mess up, they don't want to own up. So I think even the cabinet itself, you can see that the cabinet is not the cabinet we thought it is supposed to be, but the whole thing is run by the structures which are outside the government. You can go to the provinces as well. Provincial structures are influencing the TEC. The TEC is influencing the government in the province, provincial government, where the tenders should go. You get the same arrangement, for instance, in Krisani, a municipality, over 1 billion could not be accounted for. But guess who's running that municipality? The councillors are getting instructions and officials from the ANC outside the government. So this thing is in shambles. That's why I said these people should go away and just bring back South Africa to its rightful owners, and then we discuss out what kind of government we need, not this one.
The reality is that... Sure, go ahead, Rebone.
Just to add on what General is saying, and based on what Ule was saying earlier on. Now, yes, you have the deployment committee, but again, ministers and portfolio chair committees in parliament are deployees of the ANC. Now, if the ANC was an honest organization, they will even summon the ministers that those SOEs are under, for them to come and account for the mess that is happening under under them as ministers, and even the portfolio committees, because yes, the ANC can go to parliament and make an SOE CO to account, but the chair of the ANC, of the portfolio committees, all of them are ANC deployed cadres.
When we look at accountability, General Holomisa, you just listened to what the president said today. There's a picture that he is continuing to create. He says that, you know, we've come out of a very dark place. We are working to turn things around. So going back to this idea of the fact that, you know, there is a new dawn. Do you believe that?
You believe him at your own peril. I don't believe on that. They are still in the dark area. In fact, if you interpret what is going on now, the campaign is about removing him. And I'm sure those who are campaigning for that are those who were involved in this state capture for years. They see him as a threat to the whole establishment, and the fact that he wants to clean it. But they are going to resist him. In fact, so far, he's the only one who's making a noise about fighting corruption. They are still in the dark area.
Rebone, your take?
You know, interesting enough, Kathy, we are in an era of COVID. Let's just look at the money that was looted through PPEs. You know, we're still waiting for the SIU report that will come out later of the whole. You know, so this happens under his administration. You know, a lot of things are happening under his administration. I'll give an example. In the Eastern Cape, you've got what we have, Makana municipality. A lot of wrong things are happening there. People are suffering, and things just continue as if nothing has changed. It's just that you have changed the face, there's a new president, but things just continue. We know why recently the Minister of Health resigned because of the Digital Vibes contract, you know, that there's allegations around him, you know, that he was involved and how his son benefited. So things still continue. Nothing has really changed, because if indeed corruption was a thing of the past, we'd not be where we are today as a country.
I'm going to ask you both, perhaps my final question to you is that what do you think should be the key takeaways for us as ordinary South Africans, being given a lot more insight into what has been going on within the ANC, and just, you know, the clear articulation of the extent of the factionalism in the ANC and the fighting that is taking place. What should it leave us with? Perhaps what you think is a fair reflection for us as South Africans to take away from today?
You go up first, my sister.
Katie, I think where we are, it's a sad, situation that we find ourselves in as a nation, looking at everything unfolding, and not also forgetting that the current Deputy Minister of State Security in the presidency, he has admitted at the Zondo Commission taking monies from business people. So this shows you that where we are, this organization that is the ruling party seems not to act because of the factionalism. Because even the most recent cabinet reshuffling, you could see how President Ramaphosa played it out. And this is a clear indication that this is all about 2022. And I feel that if President Ramaphosa was indeed serious about cleaning this country and what he preaches, in terms of good governance, he should have actually served one term in the ANC and cleaned everything. But once you want to serve your second term, it's politics playing itself, because then you have to tiptoe around certain comrades within the party so that you don't lose their support or allegiance. I'll end there.
My wish, Kathy, is that Judge Zondo, when he finishes his work, he should not hesitate to publish the findings of his report. He would make a big mistake if he were to give that report back to the president. That report should be immediately made public and a copy given to the president. Because this thing of saying, I'm still looking at the report, look at the SIU report on Zwelim case. He has been saying he's looking into this report since June, if not, since June. But what's happening now? People are guessing. All we need to do is that report must be made public when it is finalized, and then the South Africans should discuss the way forward based on the monies which were stolen by the ANC. It's going to come out. For SASA, billions which bankrolled ANC rallies and conferences. Even this question of cadre deployment, you can look at the IEC. One of the members of the commission there is a former MK member, the lady. I know her. So we need to restructure the systems in this country completely across the board. Thank you.
Thank you both so much for coming onto the show tonight. UDM leader Bantu Holomisa, and we also had political commentator Rebone Tau there weighing in on today's evidence by the president.